Hey, everyone.
Hey,
How's it going?
going good, going good. We always forget to do this, so I'm going to just do it. All right. If you
What?
are watching this show and appreciate everything Nicole does, especially through everything she's going through, which is awesome. But I love the shows. I love this time of the week that we get a chance to catch up with you, especially. But we can always appreciate the thumbs up. So if you see that thumb right there in front of your face, please click that thumb. We need the thumbs up. At the same time, if you do this right, it's not working. I was thinking if you do, the host does it. Some reason a thumb actually comes up on the other shows, but I can't get it to work.
Oh
Anyway,
my
there's
God,
also
look at those
something.
huge thumbs. I've never seen thumbs that big.
Are you goofing on me right now? You goofing on me
No.
for my TV work, where people used to
What?
say to me all the time, "You got giant thumbs." Well,
Dave and his big dumb thumbs.
I know it. Oh my God, it's my big thing. You go on TV when I would do the news, and they would say, "Hey, I saw you on the news last night. What's the deal with your giant thumbs?" And I would go, "Oh my God!" And then it got in my own head that had these giant thumbs. But again, thumbs up. I'm never going to show my thumbs again on the show. Nicole's in my head, and then at the same time, subscribe. We love it that you subscribe and pay attention, listen to the show. But it's funny. I know. I get probably more notes than you do because I know you're getting a ton of DMs and stuff like that, Nicole. But people who will now, when they're saying, "Hey, you said in episode 25, or you said in episode 22, or you said in episode 38," that people are going back and watching the show. So I think a lot of them you can go back and watch. It's not one of those. It's not a news show. It's not one of those basically where I'm lost. You can always go back and watch the previous shows as well. But
Oh, you're
it's always
talking
a good
about
time.
our show. We're talking about
Our
this show.
show, this
Oh,
show,
yeah.
the Perfectly
You
Twisted
can go
show.
on YouTube or wherever you podcast if you
Yeah.
listen. You can go anywhere, and hear all of the episodes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So no, I'm excited about today. I know we have a lot to talk about and a special guest and everything, but I've been looking forward to this week. Of course, you'll give us an update on everything that's going on with you and your health. And so many people ask me that don't want to bother you. How's she doing? I get that all the time, and I'm sure you get all the time. How you doing?
Yeah, I do. And it's really nice. People ask how they can help. Don't forget about my GoFundMe. I do have a GoFundMe, Nicole Eggert, that my friend set up for me. That's really helping me because in my industry, I can't. It's
Exactly.
hard. It's hard. You don't get a day off. You don't get a sick day. You don't get any of that. So, unfortunately for me, I can only take work that's like for a day.
Yep.
Although, if I continue on the path that I am, I'm going to try to audition for some things and see if I can get some like guest appearances or something like that. But my hair is rapidly falling out. I think this
Is
is
it?
the only, yeah, today and maybe tomorrow it's going to be the last. I have to shave it. It's, yeah, you can definitely see bald spots, and it just is like, it's more annoying than anything, the shedding of it. It gets all in my face, all on my neck. It's itchy. It's blah. So, I am gonna get rid of it, I think. I think that's just a little bit more freedom I'll have.
You're doing
Um,
a good job with it. Just from watching, like it looks like you just styled it different, and you got it cut a little bit shorter. But I know it probably takes a little bit of work of trying to make sure it looks the
well,
way
I
you want it
can't
to look.
touch it much, otherwise it just comes out. So I kinda, like, wet my fingers and, like, because it kinda
I don't mean to
sticks up
laugh,
too.
but yes,
Yeah, it's ugh. For me right now, it's getting to be, more trouble than it's worth.
Santa
And,
Ana wins are your enemy.
oh
That's what it's
gosh,
come
I
down to.
haven't even that's what's coming, huh? A lot of people just thin and don't lose all of it, so I was thinking, "Oh, I'll give it a chance, like, maybe it won't all thin," but when I start to see, like, my scalp, I feel like one of those men. I feel like Donald Trump or one of those men that are, like, doing everything in their power with all their money to save the hair that they
Yeah,
have. That's what I feel like. I feel like it's either it's that time to go, guy, time to go. You either get hair transplants or you shave it off. Like, it's that time. You gotta make a decision. Um, no, I'm teasing. I'm teasing. Guys, do whatever
no,
makes
you
you
know what though,
happy. That's
guys
my
go through that.
opinion. No,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know
no,
that you
guys
do,
go
but
through
I'm
it.
saying I don't mean to harp on them. I'm just saying, like, whatever
No,
makes them happy, happy. But when we
well,
can see the scalp, it's
yeah. Well, I'll say it. I'll say it
not
for
so
men because my college roommates. I had a buddy of mine in college who his dad did hair for celebrities like you. He worked in a movie studio, and his job was to take care of people's hair. So he would always talk about people's hair on TV, who had real hair, who had fake hair, who had plugs, all that stuff. And I had no idea. I'm 18 years old. I'm like, what? And of course, he was the one that lost his hair out of all of us. And I remember as he started losing his hair, he said, "When did water become my enemy?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Out of the shower, jump in a swimming pool." He goes, "Water has become my biggest enemy."
Yes, I took a shower and washed my hair, and I got out and I was laughing. It looked like I had given the cat a bath, just all the hair around the sink. I was like, "Oh god." And I kind of been put off washing it because I knew that was gonna be the case. It was kinda like it keeps reminding me of that movie, I keep saying this, Better Off Dead, with
Yeah.
Meryl Streep and Goldie Hawn, and they're taking the youth serum, but things are falling apart. That's kind of what I feel like. It's falling apart, and you're like trying to put it back and hold it together, trying to get rid of all the evidence, all the hair. And my cute little Keegan, she comes up and helps me because my eyesight isn't that good, and I can't obviously get in the back, and she's helping me pick it all out. I'm like, in my eyelashes, it's in my eyelashes, and she's pulling all the hairs out, so it's kind of comical.
Oh
It's
my
a little
gosh.
bit
Well,
comical.
you have a good demeanor about it. So does your daughter, who's sitting there watching you go through it and trying to help you the best she can.
Well, I'm not gonna
It's
lie
not
that I
easy.
did tear up. I did tear up, like, when I was snowboarding and I took my helmet off and it was like, and I was like, and I knew that was gonna happen from the helmet. I knew it, but I started to tear up and she's like, "Oh, don't cry, don't cry." And I was like, "I know, I'm trying not to, but right now my body feels like it needs to cry a little bit." And of course, we're like this jam-packed patio of people, but um other than that, I mean, I kind of look at it as, and I'm doing it for the kids. I'm doing that for survival. It's
Yeah.
like it,
Yeah.
you have to weigh it out, you have
Absolutely.
to balance it out, and you look at it in the right perspective. But, I went for my treatment yesterday, and, they said, "Oh, no, your white blood cell count is, like, alarmingly low," because I had taken a blood test on Friday,
Okay.
and Tuesday was my treatment, and, I was like, "So what does that mean?" They're like, "Well, you can't get treatment and you cannot be around people. After we take this, do your IV thing, you have to keep this Band-Aid on for days. Don't touch anything. Like, be super careful." And I was like, "Holy shit." I went up to Big Bear with all these
Yeah.
people,
No kidding.
working out, doing, snowboarding, like exerting myself. So they said, "Okay, well, we're gonna do another one really quick and see where you're at." And it was totally back to normal.
Good.
And it's really interesting because I had just been reading, and my friend Alexandra Paul, the actress, for if people know her, she had sent me this interesting podcast about how working out, physical exercise is helping. And I sat there and I go, Friday I went and did my blood test. Then I went to a pretty heavy duty yoga class.
Wow.
Then I went ski boarding. It's ski boarding. Yeah, I went ski boarding. Have you ever tried that? Super fun.
It's impressive.
Yeah, it's a new
The
thing.
other ones are too
Uh,
easy, so you just mixed them. Yeah.
Yeah, I went snowboarding and, I don't know, I'm like, kinda like, was the fresh air and all that exercise what needed? Because my body went straight back to total normal, and they were, like, a little baffled by it. They were like, we don't know, but we love it. Let's go with it." And I got my treatment. I ended up getting treatment. So, I think there's something to this exercise thing. And
Good.
it only makes sense because you get your blood here as I pull my hair out, is you get your blood pumping and your blood going, and it starts, doing what it needs to do. And it's scary to have the low white because the white cells are what kill the cancer. So when those guys aren't up and running, we have problems on our hands. So
Did
enough of that.
what about obviously elevation's a little bit different when you go skiing. Do you have trouble
Yeah.
breathing?
I mean, I'm used to it because I go every year. Yeah, a little bit, but it gives you that much more of a workout.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So,
That's one of those things that I always forget. All of a sudden, you're out of breath. For me, I'm out of breath tying my shoes. What the hell just what
yeah,
just happened? And I'm like
yeah,
sitting there looking for an inhaler. Going, oh my gosh, it's hard to breathe up here. Um, but I'm glad you got away. I mean, they're really great. When you told me your plans that you're going to get away and do something fun with your daughter, I'm sure she needed it too. So it was
yeah,
great for both of you.
yeah. It was fantastic. A
So how
great,
good
great.
are you? How good are you?
I mean, I'm decent.
Okay.
I'm
Now you're a
decent.
skier or snowboarder?
Snowboarder. I
Okay.
mean, I started skiing, but when the snowboards came out, I was like, "I wanna try that." Um, so I took to it. I mean, I tried it, I really liked it, taught both my kids how to do it. Um, Keegan did great. Keegan was
Well,
killing it.
she's an athlete.
Yeah, she is. She is. Um, she is, and she's easy to coach. That's the one thing, how some people don't wanna hear it. She takes
Yeah.
notes and she, like, applies it, so she's a good learner too. So she's impressive. She's impressive on the ice. And she had a really bad pulled muscle in her back, and I was like, "Oh gosh," right before going up there. So I was really concerned. But she the first run, she was like, "Oh man," she was sitting in the snow a lot. She's like, "My back really hurts and getting up." And I said, "Let's do this first run. Let's get your body all warmed up into the weird muscles that snowboarding uses. Let's go take a break. Let's go get some water, and then we'll go back up." And sure enough, by the second one, she was rocking and rolling.
Nice. Good deal.
Yeah.
Good deal. Did you skateboard as a kid? Is that one
A
of the things that
little,
people
no, not
say
not
looks like it would
not
help? No?
not so great. But it's funny because I've had people tell me that I ride my snowboard a little bit like a surfboard
Yeah.
when I carve. So, and I did surf a little bit, nothing crazy, but I did surf a little bit. I'm good on a board. I just didn't do it very often. Keegan skateboarded a lot. Um, so yeah, I think it was easy for her to pick up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
You
I
have
mean,
you Do you
no, I've
ski or
never
snowboard?
no, you know what? I never my parents never got me involved in it. I mean, yeah, we went up to the mountains and we'd inner tube and they just never I don't think they were fearful that I was going to get hurt. They just didn't do it. So they never introduced me to it. I wish they would have. I mean, for people who don't live in California, especially Southern California, it's really one of the rare places in the world where you could ski and surf in the same day. I mean, it's
Yeah.
pretty amazing, the access that it's only a couple hours away and you can ski, snowboard, and then if you want to go to the beach you can do it all in the same day. It's amazing. It just I wish I would have done it, and I really didn't get my kids involved in it. Just my first son was very athletic and I was so afraid of him getting hurt, like snapping a leg when he was a top baseball player, basketball and football player, that I don't want to have him miss a season. And then my younger son, I took him up to Big Bear one time and we did the inner tube, and he had to be like 2 years old. And I'm going down the inner tube and he's on my back. And every time we went down, Nicole, we'd fly off and I ended up landing on top of him. Like every time I crush him
Oh,
and he'd be crying. I'm like, I don't understand what's happening, but he'd fly off, then I'd fly off. And then it was like a wrestling move, like that fake wrestling. And he's like,
yeah.
this sucks. This 200
Well,
pound guy is crushing me every time we go down the
apparently
mountain.
yeah, thanks, Dad.
Yeah.
Y it's interesting because we went inner tubing. First of all, inner tubing is so much better than sledding. Like, wow, what a
Yeah,
difference,
it
right?
is.
Just smooth, so fun. But I noticed that, all the parents who had kids on their lap, they all crashed, like, halfway down. They all fell out. And then the ones that
Yeah.
just put the kids in the inner tube by themselves, kids were fine. Everybody that did it by themselves was fine, but the people that doubled up, they were smashing each other, knocking heads. Yeah, they were yeah.
That was us.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
So I think the key is putting everybody in their own inner tube.
Yeah, no kidding, no kidding. It's funny is Nicole knows my oldest son, and I took him up there when he was 9 years old, Nicole, and he's never been around snow, and he was excited. We jump out of the car, and living in Tennessee for 9 years, we'd get snow, and I packed a snowball, and as soon as we jump out, and I gun it at him, and he still complains about it now. 20 years later, he's complaining. I drilled him right in the ear, and he just cried and couldn't believe that I threw a snowball into his ear. And I threw it hard. I'm not gonna lie, but he's like, that hurt really bad. Like he still has, PTSD from it. And enough. It's a long time ago.
Thanks,
Let's get over
Dad.
it. Yeah.
Thanks.
Oh,
Thanks a
that's
lot, Dad.
exactly what I get. He's gonna get me back one day when I'm a little bit
Oh,
older, and obviously he throws pretty fast. He's gonna end up one day. I'm gonna end up taking a snowball right in the ear as payback. He's been thinking about it for a long time. But that's awesome. How long were you up there for?
Friday to Sunday.
Okay,
So,
good deal.
yeah, it was fantastic. Yeah, we went with some friends and, it was a great time. It really was. So I'm super excited about our guest. I'm not sure where she's at.
She's right there. She's right there on the screen. She's
Perfect.
underneath. I can see her. I don't know if you can see her, but I can see her.
I
You want
cannot.
me to bring her
Usually
on?
I can. Yeah, so we have a great guest today. I grew up with my mom watching Good Day LA, and so we watched it. If she watched it, there was one TV in the house. But we've been watching it forever. I religiously watch it to this day. I had it on this morning. My kids watch it. My youngest knows them by name, but this beautiful lady was on there for quite a long time, and she was an influencer before being an influencer was a thing. And so it was always an added perk that you got her in the morning because she always had like the latest, greatest products. And I'm lucky enough to have been able to hang out with her in person. So let's bring her on. It's Miss Jillian Barberie.
Hi, you guys. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I finally got
Yes.
it. Thank you for the invitation. I'm not technically good at all this stuff. So, and what a beautiful intro. Oh my gosh, my sister and cancer warrior. And hi, it's so good to see you,
Hi.
sweetie.
You too. Thank you so
Just
much
to
for
let you know,
joining us.
this is how your hair grows back. Mine is out of control.
That's what everybody says. They call it the chemo curl.
Chemo curls. Like I honestly, I did this on purpose just to show you because
I
my
love
hair
that.
was it was never like that. Like it's insane. But if you blow it out, it goes really. Oh my God, we've lost you, haven't we?
Goes straight
It
again.
goes really straight and smooth and very nice. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm actually doing okay. You know, the anti-nausea meds really work for me. Thank
Yeah.
God. So
Are
I
you
don't
on
get
like Decadrone and all that? They gave me a bunch. Like
I know I have
my
3. I take 3. So I get one through the IV. I have one that a really strong one, and then I've got like a twice a day one. I just take them all. I'm just like,
yes.
fuck it, I need them all. And then after like
Yeah.
a week and a half, I just stop and I'm fine. And I wear the wristbands, the nausea. I do it all.
Oh, I I,
Yeah.
I I I didn't even know about those. Now, I'm curious because I didn't know what kind of breast cancer I had for years because I was just like, chop them off, give me the fucking chemo, bring me to the brink of death, and take me back again because I had little kids very similar to your situation. And so when people would ask me what kind of cancer, and I'm like, I don't know, kitty cancer.
Yeah.
And finally, I found out it was I was HER2 negative and estrogen positive. So
Same
soy is
Z's.
fine.
Same Z's. Yeah, because at first is all this what kind of cancer is it, what kind, and then it kind of boiled down to it doesn't really matter. What matters is the HER2 positive or negative, right? So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
so I negative, also hormone positive. So estrogen positive. So that's good and bad. Are you still on like the hormone blockers? Do you take those?
I am. It's I'm on something called letrozole. There's also astrazole or something. But it's fine. Like what I wanted to tell you is like, you know, you get to the other side and it's fucking awesome, and you just like, okay. And I'm still at the 4 years. I'm not at 5 yet. I don't know. I guess 5 is a big deal. But every day, I remember my oncologist saying, you know, a positive attitude is half the battle. And I was like, oh, well, then I'm fucking good. Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, I'm so positive. And when I when I first heard that you had it, I wanted to reach out to you because it's such a lonely feeling. Even though you have people around you, I had people around me. You're still, you know, kind of like, holy fuck. Like every once in a while I go, I have fucking cancer. Like what? Like it's just, right? Do you get that kind of weird
Oh yeah.
disassociation?
Yeah, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. And all of a sudden it's like, you have fucking cancer. Like this could go really bad. And it's like, and then I
Yeah.
feel sometimes my hair is hair is rapidly falling. Ugh. And then sometimes I sit there, yeah, and I'm like, this is a big deal. And then I'm like, oh wait, you're normalizing, but you have cancer, you know. So yes, I
It's
go, it's weird. It's a
You
weird
look so cute. You look like Natalie Maines with short hair. I always wore wigs, and I fucking hate that I did, but I did donate them all to. I just wish I was more. I was so in a bubble in the sense that I was losing my house. I got cancer. The ex. I had 2 kids full time. He didn't pay any support. I didn't. I wasn't even in the mental place to get on and help other women. I was just like fucking trying to survive. And I don't even mean with the cancer. I mean with losing
life.
everything. My money manager, I went through a very dark time. This is what he said. Calls me in. I'm completely bald. It was my first chemo. And by the way, I thought it took like 4 chemos for your hair to fall out. I had one and I brushed. I was like, holy shit balls. And I had extensions. So it felt so good to finally brush through my hair. I was like,
Yeah.
this is awesome. But yeah, I go and I sit down with him and he's like, oh, we, as in us, we're a team. We owe the IRS $750,000. I collapsed.
Ugh.
That was the beginning of the end for Jillian. Wasn't the cancer. I was like, fuck cancer. I'm going to beat that. It was, I'm going to lose the only home that I've known for 23 years that my children have grown up in, and I couldn't even function after that. I had a nervous breakdown, all while going through working on the radio every day at KBC and doing chemo and looking after the kids. So I had a complete nervous breakdown. I wasn't hospitalized, but it was enough to put me on, what do you call those nutty pills? I call them my cuckoo pills, antidepressants. And I'm still on them almost 5 years later because my life got so fucked up, lost the house. I now live in an apartment off of my, what do you call it? My pension. Do you get words that are lost? Like I've searched for words now and they're like, oh, it's menopause. And I'm like, no, it's fucking brain. Okay,
Yeah.
asshole. I get so irritated about that. Yes, I was pushed into menopause by that letrozole, but yeah, I forget. I'm like, what's the word? And it could be like a massive word, like, you know, murder. Oh yeah, shit, yeah, murder. Like I just forget everything.
Yeah, it's happening to me too. And just happened to me a minute ago in the podcast. I called snowboarding skiboarding. But yes, it's happening to me a lot. And also with my typing, like with my writing, I'm spelling things very strangely. And I'm like, and that's not like me. So
well, and then you've got your kids to remind me, yeah, you told me that yesterday, Mom.
Yes.
Yeah, you already told me that 5 minutes ago, Mom. Like I literally, it's like a scene out of, I'm like, are you serious? When? 10 minutes ago. So yeah, it's crazy. I'm getting better, but I find I have to keep my brain, like I've been working with Heather Locklear for about 4 years, working with, you know, I love to organize. And so I've had to really downsize my life. And I went from like a 4,000 square foot house to 1,000. So that's 3,000 square feet of not just fucking furniture, it's memories, it's life. So I had to pick the most important things. And then I've created, you know, I realized, you know, it's just stuff at the end of the day, right? So health over wealth. Money doesn't buy you happiness. It does buy you comfort so you can pay your fucking rent on time and things of this nature. But it's certainly not like I grew up very middle class in Canada, and then I became successful and had money, and then it was all gone. So I kind of, you know, and I was telling my kids, it's such a great, oh God, life lesson, not to sound too cheesy and Oprah-ish, but it really truly is.
it is.
Right? Like you just, it's life, man. And people go through worse.
I did the same. I downsized from a large house. I sold it to stay home with my youngest. When I got pregnant with her, I was like, well, shit, here we go again. And I decided to sell my home and then so that I could stay at home, and I downsized. So I feel you on that. It is not easy. It's emotionally, physically, everything exhausting. And have you watched that show, Swedish Death Cleaning?
What's it called?
Swedish Death Cleaning. I think that's what it's called.
No.
No. I believe it's great, but it's something that they do a lot in Sweden, is where you get rid of all the junk so that your family later doesn't have to do that for you, or you know, you don't leave them with all this stuff. So
well,
I kind of looked at it. It's it was like a positive spin on downsizing. So
100%.
check it out.
You probably have, Nicole, like a ton of, like I had all these magazine covers and they took up, or just shit, you know, like, oh, People Magazine, talk about your hair, whatever. And I had, when I, you know, back in my old house in Tarzana, I had things framed. I took them all out of the frames and I sent them off to this company called Picturely. And I was like, fuck it. There's no room for this bullshit anymore. I don't need to sit and stare at myself, at my old body after I had 2 babies. God, it was good. My abs. I was like, slabs to abs. Those are gone. Those days are gone. But anyway, Picturely puts all of your, you know, your life's whatever into a book. So it's like a coffee table book. So I have one of my kids' art, then I have one of my whatever career, and you can have one of your kids and, you know, at Disneyland and whatnot. It's like it was the last of my spending as far as that, because, you know, it costs money to put all that shit together, and they go through it. And she goes, you can be as involved as you want. And I'm like, oh no, you just take away. Like, you'll yeah, do it for me. Do it for me. Anyway, could I just say a couple things? I think what you're doing is amazing. I love that you have this platform together to talk about everything in life, not just cancer, but it's so helpful to talk about that because I, when I was going through it, I would just go to Twitter and I was like, hey, I would have pain. And believe me, I love painkillers. Nobody likes a painkiller like this broad. And they are like, oh, here's some Percocet for that pain. And I'm like, it's still there. So I went on Twitter at like 3 a.m. I'm like, hey, cancer peeps, I have like bone pain. And they're like, no, actually it's nerve pain and you need gabapentin. It saved my life. Like I would literally be
Oh,
punching my leg. So I don't know if you're in that kind of spot yet or.
I get the leg pain. It's not where I can't. It's not excruciating yet, but I do have leg pain, so I like have to adjust myself, move around a lot. Actually, yesterday during treatment, it was hard for me to stay still in that chair. The whole right side was killing me. But yeah, my nurse told me that that's very common and sometimes can last for the rest of your life. So I
Yeah.
try not to give it too much thought yet.
You know, it's a bearable pain, Nicole. And I'll tell you, gabapentin, I always thought it was my bone that was hurting. And they said, actually, it's the nerves. So gabapentin has sort of, it makes the pain go away. But I also take a little Aleve. It's fine. You know, the after effects of cancer, it's better than having cancer. And God bless you. You know, I was speaking with Nicole yesterday and she's like, yeah, I'm getting chemo. And when people hear that, only if you've been through it, like they go, what? Oh my God, I don't want to bother you. But you're like, no, actually it's good to like, I used to watch Game of Thrones when I was getting my chemo. How's your appetite?
You know what? I've like gained weight. Like my appetite is like kind of a lot. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's like that's healthier than losing all the weight they said. So I'm not worried.
Yeah.
So it's like fine if I gain a little weight from this. But you know
Oh,
that
I did.
estrogen.
But what's the alternative? And also, you know, yeah, I was that one and I was like Postmates chair 19. I'm over here and I'm looking around and no one else. There are all these older ladies with their wigs and their makeup. I'm bald with Ugg boots and I'm freezing and I'm eating. I'm like, what the fuck? Is it me? Is it me? And they're all skinny bitches. And I was like, you assholes, why did I get the one I want to eat? Yes, I have gained the weight and it's okay.
It's okay. I think that here's how I looked at it because I felt the same. I was like, damn it, I didn't even get the side effect of weight loss from this. But I think that the reason they lose so much weight is because they're so nauseous. So I think that's a trade-off. I think, okay, if you're nauseous, you don't eat that, you can't get food down. So I'd rather be where I'm at.
100%.
Yeah.
I never once felt, again, I was on all that medication that you are, and I never once was sick. I was like, if anything, I had this appetite. And it's like when I see my friends now and they're all skinny, I'm like, oh, you're on Manjaro, whatever the hell it's called, or you're and they all feel alive.
And we can't take that because now that those are like possible cancer starters too. So it's like you can't even do that anymore. It's like it takes all the fun out of the loss.
It takes all the fun, and everyone I know is on it, Ozempic, and they're all skinny, and I'm like, and then my daughter, actually, I don't know if your kid's probably protective of this, but Ruby, I had the opportunity to do it for free, and apparently it's really expensive. And Ruby said, yeah, please don't. My daughter's 16. She's like, Mom, please don't. And I listened to her. I thought, it's true. Like, it's scary to her because I'm sure the kids, they don't exactly know, like, oh, they're pumping poison in my system, but it's killing all the or all the cancer. Did they tell you? They told me about the cold cap, and then when they said it was 4 hours, I was like, fuck that. I'm like, I'll go bald. I don't care.
Okay, I totally was into the cold cap, and I ordered it. The kit arrives, everything. I had a first team. My first oncologist said, "Yeah, I'm fine with it, no problem." I was supposed to start chemo on Monday. The kit arrives, and I'm like, I knew I was not going to like this, but I wanted to try it because not for the hair loss necessarily during chemo, but the one of my chemos has a side effect of permanent hair loss. So I was doing it for that.
What? So, is that the Red Devil?
No, it's this other one that I have to have that's called like T. They call it T. Because I have a long T name.
Yes.
I do that one second. So I ordered it. Then I ended up changing my whole medical team that week. And he told me, no, I don't want you using it. I don't want to use it. I do ice my hands and my feet to help with neuropathy. So far
and also did you get? I didn't do any of that except for the ice chips. I did chew. They said this will give you sores in your mouth if you don't. So I don't know if that was the Red
Oh,
Devil or the tea. But
both of them have
I
the sores. Yeah.
can I just ask you something? First of all, you have to order. I thought they give you a. You have to fucking order it, like pay for a thing. I
Yes.
thought they had them at the hospital.
Some of them have what's called cool scalping, and it's a big machine. But your institution, wherever you're getting your treatments, has to have it there.
Wow.
They don't bring it to you. But when you do the frozen one, it's like I was doing penguin caps. No, it's like a kit, and somebody has to stand there and change the ice packs every 20 minutes. On you have to change the whole thing on your head. You have to do it an hour before treatment and an hour after treatment. So yeah, you're looking at an 8 hour, like 8 hours or something. It turned out to be with that thing on your head.
Yeah.
Or 4.5 hours. I think it was 4.5 hours. It was long. Whatever it was very long, and it has to be negative below 30.
Yes, to make the chemo think that there's dead. It's dead already up there, so there's nothing to kill.
Yeah.
And so protect. But she told me that. I said, well, what does it entail? And she's like, well, and so I was doing a 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. show. And she's like, well, and then you'll do that, and then you'll finish your show. Then you would come and do the cold cap for like 4, and then we'd do your chemo for 4.5. I'm like, it's fucking half my day. I'm like, that's more than half my day. I want to be with my kids. I don't care.
Yeah.
And truthfully, when your hair starts to grow back, it just feels, I don't know if you feel this way, like thicker and nicer, and yours seems straight. Or do you straighten it? Because like do you have the curls?
So no, so this is still my hair from before. I cut it really short before I started chemo.
Yeah.
And it's straight. I've always had stick straight hair until I had my first daughter, and then it had kind of like one little wave in it. And then after my second daughter, it's got like 2.5 weird waves. So it's really
Yeah.
ugly. It doesn't dry cute at all. I have to blow dry it every day. And so I'm hoping with this chemo curl that it will land in a place where at least like if I'm at the beach it starts to dry, I don't look so crazy. Because after my second one, it's the ugliest hair. It's the ugliest waves. So I'm interested to see, but I think I'm going to shave this today or tomorrow. I'm just going to shave it off.
You
It's
know,
falling out, getting in my mouth and in my eyes, and it's
absolutely. And you look so freaking cute anyway. Dave, have we lost you completely? I mean, are we?
Not at all. Not at all.
You're a good partner because you listen and God, we've been talking for like half an hour and you've just been so patient and you're interested. It's not like you're looking down at your phone like I'm seeing you. It's really cool.
Not at all. And Jillian, I know it's the first time you and I have met. I've been a big fan for a long time and have followed you for a long time. You and I have a lot of similarities, but I love people who have a lot of energy. I love the fact you're a big Howard Stern fan. I'm a big Howard Stern fan, and I'm obviously my background is sports before the entertainment.
Yeah.
So obviously I've followed your career for a long time, so it's a pleasure to have you here. So
it's really after half an hour, it's very nice to now. How did you? Very nice to see you. I love anyone who loves Howard Stern, and with your sports background, I did that 10 years on the NFL, and I got to tell you, those were 10 of the best fucking years of my career. I mean, those guys were the best. People always go, "Oh, how's Terry Bradshaw and Howie Long?" And did you guys talk football? No, we never talked. We talked about Howie's wife. We talked about Terry's dating. I was always trying to set him up. Jimmy Johnson liked to gamble. And I was with JB, and I was with Kurt Menefee and Chris Collinsworth. I was with the best of the best. And they were, I don't know, they were just the coolest people ever. And I don't know if you feel this way, Nicole, after you've had a certain, we were very lucky to be involved in television in the 90s and the 2000s. But it was before cancel culture. It was fucking fun and got to sing anything and do anything. And, I think the first time we met, I was like, I'm trying to find this picture. Nicole's getting chemo yesterday. She's like, oh, I've got them. I've got the picture. And I'm like, you are so organized. And I got to tell you, and this kind of ties in, Dave, to the sports world, that when you are known as a certain entity, so you could be the funniest, the brightest, the quickest, but if you're hot, quote unquote, if they see you in that sort of light, God forbid you gain 10 or lose your hair, because there are people in that sports world, and I'm not going to say politically which side they're on, but they get so fucking angry at you if you're a certain way, and you're just like, oh, I'm sorry, would you rather me be thin and fucking dead? Like it's like, and I'm wondering if you like I have encountered aging. I don't give a flying fuck, but I think some people really, really do. And when you're battling for your life, the last thing you're doing is lasers and fucking injections and Botox. You're just like, I just want to live. I just want to live. So I've missed out, on a lot of stuff. And financially, I'm not doing that shit. But I feel like my wheels fell off the bus at 50 in a sense that things started to change. My life was going, and it's hard to catch up again. I'm just starting to feel, even though I've always been positive, I'm just starting to feel like me. I'm curious how it has been for you, because you've been seen always as that, so, beautiful. Oh my God, she's so hot. And then you go through something physically as
Yeah.
transformative as cancer. And I remember getting back on, I don't know if it was Instagram or something, and some, dudes are like, oh man, what happened? I'm like, yeah. They're like, what happened to you? You gained weight. Yeah, I had fucking cancer. Wow, man. Like, and they're still like, they don't understand or they don't care. How has it been for you?
Yeah, I mean, I've been handed it. After my second baby, I had her, I was 40, 41, something like that when I had her.
Same.
And yeah, and my thyroid went berserk and I couldn't lose the baby weight. I still had the pregnant belly, like my body was just stuck and holding on to it. So of course I was working out really hard and making it worse because I was traumatizing the body, so it was holding on to the weight more. But the paparazzi would take a picture of me post delivery, and I'm working out really hard, and they're saying how terrible I look. Well, at least I'm fucking working out. At least I'm working on it. You're not catching me lying, in a lazy boy eating a burger. This is like,
that's where I'll be. Yeah. I
listen,
hear you, man.
Very well, but at least I was like working on myself. So I went through a long period where people, what happened to you? Da, da, da. And I'm like, life happens, and it, weight gain and stuff like that. It can be temporary. So it's like, I'm still the same person inside when I'm looking fantastic as when I'm, looking terrible. But, and we go through
100%.
phases. Yeah, we go through phases. Too.
How did you guys, not to switch my mind, ADD, but how did you guys meet?
Oh, I'll let Mr. Dave tell you the story.
Please do.
It's always embarrassing. It never works out in my favor, just so you know. It's always embarrassing. People make fun of me for years over this. This has been a running joke. Even when on my radio show, I did radio in San Diego for more than 20 years, and Nicole immediately became a topic of this conversation. Actually, I was with Nicole just 2 days ago. I was at the Laker game, and my old producer is now the voice of the Minnesota Timberwolves. And he brought it up to me at the Laker game. And I was like, oh my gosh, this story never goes away, Jillian. All the way, here you go. I'm going to go through real fast because it's embarrassing. Back in high school, I had the biggest crush on Nicole. She was doing Charles in Charge.
Me
and
too.
In LA, for people who don't understand, you can go to TV shows for free. You just went to the mall, you got tickets, and you went to the show. So I would go to different shows, but Nicole was the girl I had a crush on. And I would show up on Thursdays when they would tape Charles in Charge, and I would wait around to try and meet Nicole. And she was great. She was always great.
God.
And so we ended up telling the story on the radio, and they're like, well, how many times did you go? And I go, I don't know, like 20 out of 22 episodes. And they're like, you're a stalker. And I'm like, I'm not a stalker. And the whole audience just let it go for 20 years of this guy's a stalker. So the idea that Nicole is nice enough to come on and share a screen with me every week is insane where this relationship
but the truth is, I mean, you are a professional, you know what you're doing, but you just happen to have been, I can tell, like you're one of the cool ones. And
Thank you.
Nicole, you can just tell right away. Obviously they get it, they're in the business, and he's also respectful of who you are, and that's really, really cool.
Yes, he would always come. He'd come with a rose and a little note with his phone number. And
I did.
The actor Jimmy Callahan.
35 years later, she called me, Jillian. It was funny. The very first time Nicole called me after we agreed to do the show, literally, I think the first thing I said is, I've waited 35 years for this call.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's sad.
That is crazy.
It's funny.
It's kind of funny and kind of sad. Like literally, I would hand her the number on a Thursday, and there were no cell phones back in like 1988, 89.
Of course.
And so I literally would not leave the house the entire weekend within 2 feet of that phone, because I'm like, what if she calls? And she didn't
Nicole.
call. You know how many
You
weekends
never
I
called
wasted because of Nicole?
his formative years. He would just sit by waiting. That is awesome. That is
So
a
funny.
great story.
Ugh.
I know, and Jimmy
my God.
Callahan, who played my grandpa, was always saying to me, "You should call him. He seems like a really nice kid. He seems like a nice boy."
I was.
He could see it. He could see it.
That's such a great story. And for you, Nicole, when did you decide, like, because a lot of people do podcasting and a lot of people want to do it. They don't realize it's involved and it's not
It is
exactly
involved.
right. I mean,
Yeah,
I
people think
wouldn't know.
you just jump on a Zoom and it takes up an hour of your day and you're done, and that's not true at all. But
No.
well, we decided to do a test run with it, and I was like, and I told Dave right up front, I said, I'm not sure I could stand talking for an hour because I'm like I'm a better listener than I am a talker at times. So I said, let's see how this goes, and the hour flies by. The hour is come and gone before I even know it, and it's just a lot of fun. And it's sort of like I feel like it's like a social thing too, because like, look, I get to see your face, you get to like catch up, and it does kind of bring people together, which I love, and we get to promote our friends.
You can definitely talk. I mean, Dave didn't get a word in for half an hour, so
I'm fine. I'm fine. Her name's on the show.
No, it's really it is that. And I think that when you come from the world that we all come from, whether it's a sport, whether it's acting or hosting, blah blah, it's so funny to me to hear certain podcasts, and they're so they're just kind of like really rough around the edges, but they'll still have like tons of, they'll have merch, they'll have this and that. I just didn't I didn't think of it that way. I've had people that want to do podcasts, and I'm like, oh, you're not, there's no way. Like Heather Locklear's like, we should do because we love true crime. I'm like, it's oversaturated. No way. I would do survivors, like of grizzly bear attacks and shit like that. I'm obsessed with shark attacks and grizzly bear. But like, that's my interest. Like, if I could have every survivor of a great white shark attack on every day, I'd be the happiest woman in the world. But you have to be disciplined. And I said to Heather, I go, you're just not disciplined. There's no fucking way we could do one together. Yeah, you've got the name, but let me tell you something. It would be hard to wrangle that one in. So it's a commitment, as you know.
Oh, it is because you have to stay consistent with your timing. You have to have them out on a schedule so people can stay to it. Otherwise people get lost and then they lose interest. But you and Heather, that would be fun. Even just you guys being yourselves. I can see it. And you can have a segment about your shark attacks when one happens.
She's insane. I'm crazy and I have fun everywhere I go, but she takes it to another level and we don't go anywhere. So I'm going to her house after this. I help organize her I'm anal about organization, and you have to be in a small place. So I started watching apartment living in New York because I wanted to see how people lived in New York. Because how the fuck are you supposed to, we have all this stuff. So I started getting all these great ideas, and now this building just opened up. We moved in. We're the first people to move in, and it's so modern and fresh that it was so easy for me mentally, because I'm cuckoo inside. If I have a serene outside, then things are good. So I started to organize her that way. And it's been 2 years. She has like 7 closets. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'll do your closet. Oh my God, you get lost. And we have so much fun. She's just a really fun girl. But again, she's also like me, into true crime. And when I say I'm into it, I'm not just, a voyeur. I'm actually involved in the Manson cases. I don't know if you know the Charles Manson case, of course, but I'm best friends. One of my best friends is Deborah Tate, who's Sharon Tate's sister. And we've been friends for 25 years. Yeah. And so we go to all the hearings. We get signatures. We fly to Sacramento, blah, 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 we do everything. And one of the murderers just got out. So it's just, Deb's life. And I helped her with her breast cancer. She was diagnosed a year before me. And then Patty Tate, who's Deborah's sister and Sharon Tate's other sister, died of breast cancer. And in Valley of the Dolls, Jennifer North, the character Sharon plays, gets breast cancer and dies. It's like, we fucking get away from this breast cancer bullshit. But, Deb is such a strong warrior. And so I've met all the Manson killers, and spoke on behalf of the LaBianca family.
Oh,
And yeah, so for me, it's so funny when I listen to some of the true crime, not all of it, but you know, some of these people are just from the Midwest and they're like, meh, meh, and they're reading Wikipedia. And yes, I do a lot more of the inside stuff, but I don't know that that's what I want to do because I feel like it's so saturated. It's so refreshing to hear a podcast like this that's not about that. And I love the fact of true crime. What I hate is when they get on and fucking bullshit back. Oh, how was your weekend? And they're laughing. And then they're talking about death and they're making fucking jokes in between. I'm like, it's so disrespectful to the families. I couldn't do, but yeah, you know, people like that shit. So there's a lot of listeners that they get. I don't know.
yeah.
It's tough, you know?
You just have to like have it in segments. So like somebody just has to watch the clock and you guys can do, you know, your normal organic thing and then have a segment where it's about true crime or shark attacks or whatever it is. And then, you know, like a wrap up segment and you just keep it sort of edit it down. But
yeah,
I could
how long
totally
have you
see that.
guys,
People would love to see you guys.
how long have you guys been doing this?
Well, this will be
Around
what,
a
the
year.
36th episode? Yeah.
And
Yeah.
how did you come up with the name? Because I think the name Perfectly Twisted is perfect in the sense of that's how I feel. My
It was
mind.
Nicole.
Well, that's exactly where it came from. Because I laugh
Brilliant.
at the wrong jokes. I laugh at the wrong time. I like the darker the better. And yet, I'm a light person, but I love the dark stuff. And that's just who I am. I'm a little fucked up, but I put it to good.
Yeah. I also wanted to let you know that I support you. And I know that you've been going, you know, public about things. I completely support
Thank you.
Yes, I do. That's what I
Yeah.
will say about that.
Thank you very much.
100%.
Thank
Yep.
you. And you know,
There are a
Dave,
lot
this
of
is the whole reason we're not married with children is because I had that shit going on set.
100.
So whenever anybody questions, why wouldn't I call the nice kid back? Well, there was some monster hiding around the corner ready to take care of that.
Honey, same. It's like, you know, the nice ones and the good ones, they're right in front of you. I'm telling my daughter who's 16, there's this same thing. And yet they're, and then you're like, oh, the horrible fucking asshole. I think I'll go with that one. Door number one. And yeah, it kind of fucks you up I haven't dated in 10 years. I don't trust my picker, as I call it. So
Yeah.
it's hard, especially when you are like us. You know, we got shit going down. We got kids and our minds are crazy a little bit. And I feel a certain way about that as well, as far as what, you know, God, that whole, for me, watching certain women like yourself speak up, there were many women that, like, I couldn't speak up because I was always the biggest pig on set. But, and I probably have men coming after me. But I do know that it exists, and people that have been silent for so long, I'm sure I could think of, but I wasn't, I don't know. I'm 57 now. I always think of the times that things happened and I thought it was normal, and it's not. And so when people do speak up, I feel like so grateful. You know, and I'm not talking about the ones that said, oh, give me a twirl. Like, fuck, when I was on the NFL, they'd be like, oh, I did a skating show. They're like, girl, you lost your curves. I'm like, they'll come back. They're like, give me a twirl. That's a great looking dress. And if they didn't say it, I'd be like, what the fuck this week? Do you not like my dress? I'm not talking about that kind. I'm talking about the real harassment and abuse of power or whatever. I don't care if you're, you know, when you think about a cast of a show, even if you're in it, you can be a subordinate. You can be, there are hierarchies within the show in and of itself, the star, and so to speak out, you know, and they wonder why a lot of women don't, because they get fucking dragged and it's bullshit, you know? So it was important for me to tell you, I support you 100%.
I appreciate that. I know you get called every name under the book. And the thing is like, people don't go making this shit up in their right. You know, this is so embarrassing. And a lot of the reason why people don't speak up is because you do feel like embarrassed and ashamed, and like I don't want to be seen as a victim. I hate that word. I'm not a victim.
Yeah.
There's so many things that go along with it, and then people think you're like a man hater. I love guys. I love men.
Yeah.
And I've made perfectly twisted comments, and I make off-color jokes sometimes too, and it's none of that. And I'm with you. I like it when a man gives you a compliment and things like that. It's fantastic. I think compliments in general are fantastic. So,
Yep.
but when something takes advantage and crosses the line and does all of these things, it's a whole different ball game. And
100%.
that is what needs to be
100%.
talked about and called out. Yeah. Thank you for joining us for part 1 of our 2-part series with Jillian Barberie. You can hear the rest of the interview on next week's episode along with Nicole's mailbag. Have a great week.